All right, here we go. All of the isms are being used by the Republican Party, surrogates of MAGA against VP Kamala Harris. It has gone from racism to sexism.
There's the DEI press secretary telling you that the DEI vice president is the future of the party here. And so the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Hawk Tuah girl. That's the way she got where she is. And the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough. That was hard.
What you just saw was their attempt to reduce the vice president of the United States, now presidential contender, to a caricature. That's what they're trying to do. Paint a narrative, a picture in your mind that only exists in the parameters of the mental context because they cannot articulate an actual policy dynamic against VP Harris in relationship to their, well, Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. Here's what J.D. Vance said about women and democracy.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
Listen, there's a broader pattern here. So while we see the sexism, we see the racism, what you really see is the othering of everybody else who is not a white male. As a matter of fact, anyone who happens to be a person of color or, God forbid, a female, the Republicans will call them a DEI hire. Who's qualified then based on their standards of qualification? Because the only people that have actually landed jobs because of the color of their skin are typically the white males who are complaining about DEI being a threat. What do you see happening? You see the intersection of all of the social ills of America coming forward at one time. Kamala Harris represents the dynamic that Republican men in particular have been fighting against. They have no idea what to do here. This is their worst nightmare. A woman who's in leadership, a woman who is a woman of color, and a woman who absolutely understands who and what they are. The criticisms will come, but I want you to look at it this way. Understand that right before someone loses all power, they start to lose a grip on reality. They start to act unhinged, trying to hold on to the little bit of power they still have. They see it coming. Their time is marked. Their leadership has failed us, and the opportunity for new has emerged. Then here comes good old J.D. Vance, vice presidential running mate of Donald Trump, who, by the way, compared Donald Trump to Hitler just a few years ago, made his greatest points about our democracy when he said Trump was unfit for office. Now is a Trump ally, vice presidential running mate, complete sellout, who's trying to convince the world that no. It's actually Biden who's bad for democracy. Here it is.
What I find so profoundly crazy about this, Charlie, is for literally years, I have been told that my party is the threat to democracy because, there was a riot on January the 6th at the U.S. Capitol, or because Donald Trump used constitutional means to try to challenge the results in 2020. Now, they basically you had a bunch of Democrat billionaires get in a room with Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and decide that the president of the United States wasn't allowed to run again. If that isn't a threat to democracy, I don't know what is. And I think that a lot of Americans, whether they agree with my politics or President Trump's politics, they think this is a little creepy.
All right, J.D. Vance is a big money man around some of the richest individuals in the world. He's a capital venture guy, but he wants you to believe he's just like you. He's one of the little people in the world of little people to him. The reality is he's trying to sell you a bill of goods, and he wants you to believe in the absurd idea that somehow, well, he's better for democracy, Trump is better for democracy, and everybody else, well, they're just antithetical to democracy.
These are weird people on the other side. They want to take books away. They want to be in your exam room. That's what it comes down to. And don't, get sugarcoating this. These are weird ideas. Listen to them speak. Listen to how they talk about things. Listen to how your previous guests were right. Like you said, they've told them that they shouldn't talk about race. They can't help it. It is built into their DNA because there is no plan. There's no healthcare plan. There's no healthcare plan. There's nothing to do on this. They want to take away our alliances and leave Russia to do whatever they want. Look, they are bad on foreign policy. They are bad on the environment. They certainly have no healthcare plan. And they keep talking about the middle class that, as I said, a robber baron real estate guy and a venture capitalist trying to tell us they understand who we are. They don't know who we are.
All the irony, okay? To have J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel telling us what regular people want. Sharp said it best, a robber, baron real estate guy and venture capitalist trying to tell us they understand who we are, ? They don't know who we are. And watch old Peter, little Petey, get a little confused, awkward when posed the question, would J.D. Vance being on the ticket with Trump change your mind about things?
You wouldn't be supporting Donald Trump. Would that change if he selected J.D. Vance as his vice presidential candidate?
Man, I'm always tempted to go back. I am so determined to try to stay out of it, but I think I'm not going to make an announcement of my political intentions here at Cambridge today. So, I think Trump will win. I think.
So you definitely didn't say that with your chest. Say it like you mean it, unless you don't mean it and you're just trying to convince people that you perhaps do. But there's another Pete Buttigieg who provided significant context. Here it is.
The choice of J.D. Vance is a regrettable choice because he's somebody who was at his most convincing and effective when he talked about how unfit for office Donald Trump is. And he has not explained any reason, other than, of course, his obvious interest in power, why he would have changed his mind on that. Remember, J.D. Vance's whole identity is that he is connected to Appalachia, a place that is being hurt so profoundly by the opioid crisis. So the fact that he didn't just refer to Donald Trump as an idiot, though he did, didn't just say all kinds of things about how he was terrible, but compared Donald Trump to opioids, that is literally the darkest, most negative thing someone connected to Appalachia could possibly say about a politician. And that was in public, right? In private, he was comparing him to Hitler, reportedly.
And here comes Josh Shapiro making some damn sense.
This is a guy who injected chaos in our lives in the past and wants to do it again. He wants to rip away health care from 1.2 million Pennsylvanians. This is a guy who has looked at the kind of workers who work here with great disdain. He spent a career screwing over the kind of workers that work here at CBS, the kind of workers that work with Darren Kelly and our unions here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And so the conversations I've had with the vice president are all about one thing and one thing only. How do we defeat Donald Trump? How do we protect our freedom? And how do we make Pennsylvania, which was the epicenter of the creation of our democracy 248 years ago and is going to be the epicenter of our politics today, how do we make sure that Pennsylvania elects Kamala Harris to be our next president?
Now you get the picture. You see, these cats aren't Republicans in heart or conservatives in their core. They're opportunists. Their political party is the opportunist party. They go to the highest bidder. They sell out the individuals who elected them. They create positions based on who is in proxy of power. And so they are opportunists who seek power.